What's up? Welcome to another episode of Andre Knows Everything. I'm Andre Morton, and this is the show where I take you through one topic at a time, using the power of Google to learn about it and trying to be entertaining along the way. This week, we're going to talk about sports, but not just like regular, normal sports. No, weird sports. There are sports that are very popular here in America, and then there are sports that are less popular here and everywhere else in the world. And I want to talk about some of those this week. A couple of weeks ago, on my other podcast, The Walt's Vault, we talked about the movie $1 Million Arm, starring John Hamm. And that movie is about taking cricket players and turning them into baseball players. And so that got me kind of interested in the world of cricket ever so slightly. I'm not a real big sports guy. I played basketball in elementary school, and then I played flag football in middle school, and then I stopped playing sports entirely. And I don't watch sports either. That's not the type of man that I have chosen to become. I'm not a huge sports fan, but when I do sit down and watch sports, if there's a Super Bowl on or if basketball is on before a stand-up show, I can get pretty involved in it. So I think there's a sports fan deep inside of me somewhere waiting to burst out or whatever, but I keep beating him down with movies and TV and comic books and stuff like that. So today I'm going to focus on some sports. We're going to start with cricket, and then we're going to get into more weird stuff that I've never heard of. I pulled up a bunch of lists of different unusual sports, and we're just going to go through them and find out some things. So come along with me. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you get updates and content from me every week, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Sorry if I'm a little out of it. I have been very sleepy all week. All right, here we go. Okay, cricket. This is a baseball like game with like way more elements, right? In the movie, they like barely explained what it is, and I couldn't even begin to explain what it is without reading this here Wikipedia article that you see before you. So let's just get into it and see what they have to say what cricket is. Cricket is a bat and ball game played between two teams of 11 players on a field at the center of which is a 22-yard pitch with a wicket at each end, each comprising two bails balanced on three stumps. All right, hang on. I got lost. When they started saying pitch and wicket, I was done. It was over. Two teams, 11 players each. In the middle, there's a 22-yard pitch with a wicket at each end, each comprising two bails balanced on three stumps. The batting side scores runs by striking the ball bowled at the wicket with the bat, while the bowling and fielding side tries to prevent this and dismiss each batter so they are out. Okay, all right. Sounds like baseball thus far, I think. Means of dismissal include being bowled when the ball hits the stumps and dislodges the bails, and by field side catching the ball after it is hit by the bat but before it hits the ground. Okay, that's like baseball too. When 10 batters have been dismissed, the innings end and the teams swap roles. The game is adjudicated by two umpires, aided by a third umpire and a match referee in international matches. They communicate with two off-field scorers who record the match's statistical information. Okay. Cool. Can I zoom in on this picture? Let's take a look here. So, what's a wicket? And what's the stumps? And the pitch. What is any of that stuff? Let's maybe watch some cricket. I think that'd probably be a good idea, because from that description, it just kind of sounds like baseball but with more steps, right? Cricket match. Let's go to videos. Highlights. There's got to be some Some dope highlights. India versus New Zealand highlights. From ICC Cricket. Let's check this bad boy out. Okay. He caught it. Damn, look at the way he throws the ball. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. God. Okay, so they hit it. It's a really big field. I mean, baseball fields are really big too, but it's much more spread out this way rather than all being down the field. Okay, so I mean the pitchers are throwing really fast, but it doesn't seem like they're throwing for speed or to make them. Well, I guess they are trying to make them miss. But I don't know if there's like curveballs and whatever in here. Only the catcher is wearing a glove, I think. I think everybody else is. Like they don't have like baseball gloves. Whoa. That's not a foul. And wait, what? Oh. Nobody caught that? And the bat is a paddle.
The slog sweep comes out. He finds the gap. There's no one out there. Picks up a 4.
Okay. Ooh. Suck it, New Zealand. Okay. Is India's time 158-3? Is that what the score is? Like for real? 162-3. New Zealand is getting stomped on. Jesus Christ. India's not fucking around. But that's because they have no. India India versus New Zealand 179-4. The scoring must work completely differently than what I'm thinking. Because like when New Zealand is on the field, like not at bat, are they going to be racking up points like this? Ooh. Oh my, what was that thing? All right, I'm gonna have to cut this up. Also, how long are these matches? Let's try and go back to the Wikipedia now that I have a visual. How does scoring work? Laws and gameplay. Oh boy. Oh dear. It doesn't say anything about scoring. In cricket, the rules of the game are specified in a code called the Laws of Cricket, hereinafter called the Laws, which has a global remit. There are 42 laws. The earliest known version of the code was drafted in 1744, and since 1788, it has been owned and maintained by its custodian, Marylebone Cricket Club in London. Okay. These are the stumps. All right. There's the popping crease. I'm about to move on to a different sport because there's so many words that I've never even seen before in here. Oh, look at that bat. That looks sick. Modern cricket bat. There's so many words in here before that I have never seen before that I'm having a real hard time understanding what this game is or how it works at all. The bat and ball, basic gameplay. During normal play, 13 players and 2 umpires are on the field. 2 of the players are batsmen, and the rest are all 11 members of the fielding team. The other 9 players in the batting team are off the field in the pavilion, like the dugout. The image with overlay below shows what is happening when a ball is being bowled and which of the personnel are on or close to the pitch. Okay. So there's 2 batsmen. Number 3 and number 8 wearing yellow. I might have to re-record this. Or just move on. I'm going to move on from cricket. I've realized that I don't care about this game because there's just a lot of there's so many rules. And I can't say that I understand it. Watching it was kind of cool, but I wasn't really sure what the aim or the goal was. So let's move on. Let's just talk about some weird stuff that's going on in sports that I think you know. This is an article from BleacherReport.com. It says, super weird sports facts you never knew. This was written in June of 2013 by Eric Newman. Okay. Something about Steve Young. Okay. So the San Francisco 49ers great Steve Young was slated to play the role of Mary's secret love in There's Something About Mary. However, Young declined the role. As a Mormon and the great-great-grandson of Brigham Young, he reportedly found the nature of the movie objectionable. The role went to Brett Favre instead. Was that really the fact? That was the sports fact? The volleyball was born of the bladder of a basketball. Okay. Fun fact. The origins of tetherball. While no one definitively knows the origins of the game, some historians guess that it derives from a 9th century Tartar ritual. Here are the ritual steps. Number 1, kill your enemy. Number 2, lop the head off his corpse. Number 3, fix his head to a rope, then the rope to a pole. Oh, okay, I see where we're going. Number 4, pick up a stick. Number 5, let the fun begin. Bow, bow, bow. A full body smock is highly recommended, probably because of the blood that's going to be dripping off of the neck of your enemy's head. And that's tetherball. That's a game that I played as a very, very, very young child. And now to go back and think about me just smacking a decapitated head around a pole over and over, it makes it seem a little less fun. Just a little bit less, you know? More messy. It's fucking gross. All right. Fact number 4. Just how many NBA players go broke? The fact that some NBA stars go broke is hardly news. For instance, we all heard about the Scottie Pippen. Poor Scotty, allegedly blowing through $120 million in career earnings. But what is news is the astronomical percentage of players that go broke, as reported in a 2008 Toronto Star article. Are you guessing in the 25% range? You'd be right if you tacked another 35% on top of that. It's reported that 60% of retired NBA players go broke 5 years after the NBA paychecks stop arriving. Holy moly. 60% of NBA players go broke 5 years. And it doesn't say how much they get paid here, but let's assume it's in the millions of dollars range, right? Like in 5 years, let's say you make at least $5 million from playing basketball, okay? And that has to be on the low end of the spectrum. $5 million in 5 years. And I'm assuming that they go broke because if I were to get drafted into the NBA right now with as much money as I currently have, I'd be like, I'm rich. That's it. I'm rich, and I can live like a rich person. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy a new car. I'm going to buy my wife all kinds of gifts and splendor. I'm going to buy my mom a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to buy my family a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to live like a rich person. But what they don't realize is that they're 19 years old, and you can only play basketball for like 7 more years after that, apparently, and then you're done. And then all the money, it just stops coming in. And if you weren't a particularly popular player, you don't have merch deals. You don't have your own shoes. You don't have a fashion line. So your income is gone. And you might be kind of dumb and or boring, so you're not going to hop onto ESPN all the time. You don't have all these other opportunities. And that's why 60% of retired NBA players go broke 5 years after the NBA paychecks. They just don't have what it takes to continue on in the basketball lifestyle. That's interesting. And I wonder why don't they just invest? Maybe they're bad at investing. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with these dudes, but they're all going broke. They got a lot of money. They had a lot of money. Anyway, moving on. When the first intercollegiate baseball game took place, it was 1859, and Amherst played Williams in the first ever intercollegiate baseball game. Amherst won. The score was 73-32. Wait, this is a baseball game? What? What are you talking about? These look like cricket scores. What the fuck? 73-32? What a formula. That's at baseball, right? Not football? Intercollegiate baseball game. Okay. 73-32. There must have been some kind of different rules back then. What a Formula One steering wheel looks like. They don't have any of these images actually on this website. It's just the same picture of this fucking Nissan over and over again. This podcast is not brought to you by Nissan. All right. I can't see that thing it's talking about. What sport Sugar Ray Robinson's son played? Sugar Ray Robinson. They say that the apple never falls far from the tree. However, it seems the apple fell and rolled over to the avocado tree. Sugar Ray Robinson's son Ronnie is a member of the Hall of Fame. That's the Roller Derby Hall of Fame, in case you were wondering. This particular article did not say who Sugar Ray Robinson is, and I, as a non-sports person, also don't know who he is, so I don't even know how far away this is. But I'm going to assume that he played football or basketball or baseball, one of those three, and none of those three are like roller derby. So good on you, Ronnie Ray Robinson. A hidden message in Tiger Woods' name. Rearrange the letters in the name Eldrick Tiger Woods, and they spell out Wooed Tricked Girls. This is not a sports fact. It's not. This is somebody messing around. What the fuck? Who cares? Muhammad Ali fought Superman and won. I knew this. This is from a comic book. In one of the weirder meldings of sports and popular culture, DC put out a Superman vs. Muhammad Ali comic book in 1978. The plot deals with hostile aliens, but the real highlight is the butt-whooping Superman gets in a sparring match with the trash-talking Ali. So Superman, who is all-powerful, gets in a boxing ring with Muhammad Ali, and he boxes as if he's a regular guy, and Ali whoops his butt. But Superman is not only faster than the speed of light and more powerful than a locomotive, he's also like fully invulnerable. So like there's nothing that Muhammad Ali could have done to punch out Superman. Sorry, it's just not how it works. Unless he had kryptonite boxing gloves. You know what I'm talking about? Pa 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 pa. Oh, this episode is dumb. How high Ted Williams' pop fly went. Okay. In 1941, Boston Red Sox player Ted Williams hammered a pop fly that rocketed more than 560 feet in the air. That's about 65 feet higher than Boston's famous Custom House Tower. New Yorkers not getting a visual? Okay, then try this. That's closing in on twice the height of the Statue of Liberty. How did that happen? It's about 40 feet higher than the observation deck of the Seattle Space Needle. Nearly twice the height of Big Ben. 560 feet into the air. He did that with a baseball bat? Jeez. So, I mean, he made his home run, right? That didn't come down anytime soon. It was probably several minutes before it came back down. If it flew 560 feet in the air, it's like a baseball-sized rocket taking off and breaching the atmosphere. My goodness. Ew, what is happening? What is going on with this fact? This is a mouth guard fact. It says, here's what's on mouth guards, I guess. Chewing tobacco, chemicals. Okay, what chemical? Blood, that makes sense. Sputum. And number 1 is fecal matter. Why? What are you talking about? Is this a link to an explanation of what the fuck you're talking about? Animal feces and other matter found on mouth guards. This is from NFL.com. Okay. The Indianapolis Star's Phil Richards reported that studies have found blood, sputum, mouth discharges, chemicals, animal feces, and other players' DNA on gloves, jerseys, and pretty much all of the outer equipment. So each time a player takes his mouthpiece with his hands, it's like licking his fingers and gloves or someone else's. Sometimes you drop it, pop it back in your mouth, and think, man, that wasn't right, you know? Indianapolis Colts linebacker Pat Angerer said, nothing you can do about it. That's football. You know what? It's out here. We got pigskin. We got pads. We got fecal matter in our mouths. That's football. Richard T. Glass, professor of forensic sciences, pathology, and dental medicine at Oklahoma State University, said the microbial load could be reduced by soaking the mouthguard in an antimicrobial solution after uses and changing the equipment every 2 weeks. How many guys will do that? You know these animals are fucking gross, okay? They're never going to wash their mouthguards. What do you think they are? Pretty princesses? What the hell are you talking about? When was this written? October 19th, 2012. Meanwhile, in 2020, all sports players are trying to stay corona-free in various sports bubbles with no fans. So I think they're washing their mouth guards now. Or at least I hope they are. I assume the fecal matter is because of the dirt, right? They're playing on grass that is, mowed and tended to and sometimes not even real. But that still wouldn't surprise me if somebody was taking their dog out onto the field and plopping loads. All right, let's move on to a different article just because this one is starting to give me the heebie-jeebies. This is another 20 weirdest rules in sports. This is from thefactsite.com. Hopefully it's a completely different list of 20 rules and they didn't just steal it from that other article I was just on. Okay. If you're a good sport, you would follow these 20 weird rules no matter how ridiculous they are. Number 1. Female wrestlers can't wear underwire bras. Also, all wrestlers must have a handkerchief handy. Okay. I wonder. I wanted explanations for some of these, but we'll run through them. So the underwire, that makes sense. It feels like it could pop out of the bra and start stabbing people, either the wearer or the opponent or whatever. And the handkerchief, for like bloody noses or something. I mean, do they have to have it on their person, or can it just be like off with the coach or whatever? Number 2, back in the olden days of basketball, people could air dribble. Instead of regular dribbling, which is bouncing the ball on the ground, players would bat the ball up in the air, making it look like the player was juggling with only one ball. What the fuck are you talking about? This is a rule? You don't have to dribble on the ground. You can dribble in the air. That's, swish, Okay. Number 3, in race walking, you're supposed to keep one foot on the ground at all times, but it's commonly broken because, seriously, who would want to watch feet all day? Oh, so the refs can't look at just the feet of the players while they're racing while walking. I think I'd do probably good at that sport. I'm into trying it. Number 4, you can't replace soccer goalies in a shootout unless the poor goalie is injured. Okay, that makes sense. That doesn't seem that silly or weird. Number 5, if you injure yourself rounding the bases after a home run, good luck. One collegiate softball player tore her ACL while rounding the bases, and according to the rule book, she couldn't receive help from her teammates to finish her home run trot. In the greatest example of sportsmanship, the other team's players helped her touch all the bases. I feel like I'm not helping unless you're at third base. You know what I'm saying? If you're at first, have fun limping to second base. I don't give a shit about you. If you're at second, it's like, no, I still don't care. And if you're at third, if you hit third and bust your ankle, then I'll be like, all right, let them play. You know what I'm saying? But any other base, I don't give a fuck. I'm ruthless when it comes to sport. Number 6, golfers have to sign their scorecards or else they're disqualified. Okay. That does seem like a silly rule, but not super silly. That makes sense. I sign things all the time. Number 7, if you take your shirt off during a foot race, you're disqualified. Okay, you hear that, Bert Kreischer? You can't take off your shirt during a foot race. I don't know why. It reduces wind resistance. You take that off, unfair advantage. Number 8, in show jumping, horses cannot have cuts on their legs. According to popular belief, this helps the horse jump higher. Cuts on their legs makes them jump higher? Okay. According to popular belief. Not according to, science or whatever. Number 9, leave the goodies alone when you're playing water polo. Any touching or grabbing of the groin is grounds for removal. Also, you can't splash water in the opponent's face, which eliminates my strategy. Okay, says the writer of this article. That's interesting. So no splishy splashy and no junky touchy. None of that. None of this right here. Okay? No matter how much you want to. Or no matter how much you want it to happen to you. You can't. No junk grabbing in water polo. Number 10. If a pitched baseball is lodged into the umpire's mask, all runners advance 1 base. Is that for real? Is that a real rule? So the ball gets thrown so hard, it misses the bat entirely. So the guy doesn't hit it, right? It lodges itself into the umpire's face mask, and it's stuck there. Then everybody on the other team gets to just move up 1 space. His dude gets punched in the face with a baseball, and the other team gets to move forward? Why? Advance 1 base. So they could score off of you throwing a strike? What? Or a foul even, right? If it wasn't in the hit box, it's not a strike. If it's hitting his face, it's up here. So that's a foul. So that's why they advance 1 base. This is assuming that there's a player on every base, right? But if somebody's on second and they throw a foul and then the batter misses and it hits this guy's face, then he moves up to first base. Not that necessarily everybody moves 1 base. Did that make sense? Baseball players, leave a comment down below. Let me know if that made any sense whatsoever. Okay, number 11. In gymnastics, your bra and underwear have to either be nude colored or the same color as your leotard. If not, your team is deducted a couple tenths of a point. Your bra and underwear have to be the same color as your leotard. Because otherwise it's distracting? I don't know. The uniform rules are weird, but uniform rules regarding ladies doing gymnastics is even weirder. That whole sport is weird for sure. It's all like, hey, little girls, come jump around on a national level. Number 12, get this. You can win with Twitter. If you receive the most mentions on Twitter during a Formula E race, your electric motor receives an extra boost. What the fuck are you talking about? A Formula E race, your electric motor receives an extra boost because you're being mentioned on Twitter. Is that some kind of thing to boost the ratings of Formula E racing? What does Formula E look like? Let's look it up. Formula E racing. I assume this is, so Formula E, known as FIA Formula E for sponsorship reasons, is a single-seater motorsport championship that uses only electric cars. The series is promoted and owned by Formula E Holdings. Yeah, so that rule must be, this is kind of a newer sport, a newer race. So in order to boost the ratings of it, like, hey, if you're watching and you want a specific player to win, all you got to do is mention them on Twitter a bunch of times, and their engine will get a boost, a speed boost, during the race. And they can control that with like an API for Twitter. That's really weird. Okay, that one wins. That one's, I think, the weirdest rule that I've read thus far. Number 13, you can lose a chess match if you show too much cleavage. Judges can come and make a decision on the amount of cleavage that's distracting to the opponent. Guys, it is my solemn duty here on Andre Knows Everything to Google chess cleavage. Let's check it out. Let's see if anything comes up. Oh my God. All right. Chess and cleavage. Dress code story in the media. Women can be disqualified from a chess tournament for having too much cleavage. Let's read more. It's from metro.co.uk, so there's going to be plenty of ads all over the fucking screen. Women can be disqualified from a chess tournament for having too much cleavage on show. It's from October of 2016. Chess tournaments aren't usually the most controversial of events. In fact, they're usually quite a sedate affair. But did you know that chess maintains one of the most sexist and outdated rules across all competitions? Nestled in between funny rules about hats falling off in tennis and volleyball teams having to play in different colors is something so startlingly ridiculous, it's almost funny. A woman can lose a chess match if it's judged that she's showing too much cleavage, the sportsbettingonline.net research shows. If her opponent complains, then the judging panel will decide if she's appropriately dressed or not. Sava Stojisaljevic, the female general secretary of the European Chess Union, told Chess-Based News that the dress code was due to the reaction to female players' outfits. I heard many comments from spectators and coaches, said this woman. It's nice to see chess players with short skirts. They are very pretty girls, but I believe there should still be some limit. So yeah, a woman who wins a chess match can have her win overturned because she's got cleavage showing. But short skirts are fine. Let's just let that sink in for a moment. Perhaps freelance journalist Robin Vinter best summed up the reality of that rule. Women can lose a game if she has too much cleavage showing. If her opponent complains, the judging panel must assess whether or not she is dressed appropriately for the match. You can just imagine the incident that prompted the introduction of that rule. A man whose ego couldn't handle being beaten by a woman. So yeah, that's definitely what happened, right? There was a chess game. Some girl's shirt was down to like here. And then the dude who was losing was like, penalty, foul, there's something going on here. I'm being incredibly distracted by the gorgeous titties right in front of me. Okay, I'm trying to play chess. I'm trying to plan my next moves, and she's just using her sexuality to her complete advantage. It's not because I'm worse at chess. It has to be because of these titties. The implication is that the person playing against the woman with the killer rack is going to be so distracted that we put off their game, which raises some questions about how much cleavage these people have seen previous to the tournament. Yeah. I feel like I could play chess with cleavage around, you know. Wait, let me go back. It said something about women's chess outfits. Is that because, like, I mean, these are just girls playing chess. I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here. Some of them are hot, you know. What's going on here, you know? But yeah, this doesn't seem like it needed to be a rule. And yeah, don't women play against women? What if they're both low cut? It's just going to be a stalemate. It's just like, checkmate. Titties. All right, let's go back. This has been kind of fun. Number 14, after a fair catch in football, your team can opt to try an uncontested field goal. All right. Number 15, in tennis, if your hat falls off, your opponent can say that it was a distraction and negate the point. So keep your hat on at all times. Okay. There's some wind resistance happening. Whatever. Number 16, there's something called the ground rule triple in baseball. If someone tries to catch the ball with their hat, the batter is awarded third base. How often has that happened that this became a rule? Some fool playing baseball decided, like, I have this glove on, but instead of just extending my arm, I'm going to pull my hat off and catch the ball with my hat. And this happened so many times that they made it a rule. Like, hey, guys, you got to stop taking your hats off. Like, it doesn't seem like an effective way to catch the ball at all. It's people just trying to show off to the people in the stands. It's a good thing we don't have people in the stands anymore. All right. Number 17, if you take your shoe off and hit the soccer ball, that's considered a handball. If you take your shoe off. Oh, okay, so you're popping off your shoe and you have it in your hand, and that's how you hit the ball because you're hitting it with your hand. All right, that makes sense. Once again, how many times does this happen? Number 18, Canadians are so nice, they'll give you points for errors. If you miss a field goal in Canadian football, you can receive a point, but only if the ball had enough distance to land past the end zone. All right, that's stupid. Number 19, in Australia, if the grand final game is tied at full time, the soccer game is played again the following week. There's no such thing as overtime until they recently changed the law. Okay, so there wasn't overtime in Australia, in Australian soccer. That's interesting. And finally, number 20, one soccer field has a tree in the middle of it. It's not an explicit rule, but one that should be in the rule book. What are you talking about? What? One soccer field has a tree in the middle of it. That's not a rule. It just has a tree in the middle of it? Where? Why did you make a soccer field there? What? Good God Almighty! All right, let's move on. Let's move on to talk about some different sports. Okay, I ran through a couple of American and European ones there, including tennis and chess. 14 of the most unusual sports played around the world. So this is what I really came here for. This is what I wanted to discuss. I want to see what other kind of sports are out there. In America, we got baseball, basketball, football, soccer, golf, tennis, volleyball. What else? Anything else? And then there's like the extreme sports like surfing and skateboarding and skiing, X Games types of things, Olympics types of things, shot put, that kind of stuff. So let's see what kind of weird stuff we got going on in these other countries. Oh, here we go. Ostrich racing. Ostrich racing originated in Africa and eventually made its way over to the U.S. Ostriches can reach a surprising speed of 43 miles an hour, and their legs can reach up to 16 feet in a single stride. During a game of ostrich racing, people sit on ostriches and race them around a track. Now, at first, I was like, this is weird. But, I mean, is it that much weirder than horse racing? The only reason it's weird is because people don't normally ride ostriches. And I didn't realize that ostriches let people ride them. They seem like the type that would be like, get off of me. I'm too small for a human to ride. Look at how far back this fool is on this ostrich. He is 3 inches from falling off. Yeah. Okay. All right. High-speed races, 43 miles an hour. As its name suggests, chess boxing is a combination of 2 traditional sports, chess and boxing. The game alternates between serious games of chess and intense rounds of boxing. All right, hang on. I got to look this up. Chess boxing match. Let's check this out. Oh, okay. So they're not boxing while they're playing chess. They play chess and then they get up and box. World Chess Boxing Championships. This is a fight from Berlin in 2007. All right, let's get to it. Come on. This video is only 2 minutes long. Yeah. Okay, wait. Decision by checkmate or knockout. Now, see, in chess boxing, cleavage not a problem. Full man titties is out. Okay, they're watching the match in real time, the chess match, and then they stop at certain points and get up and just start beating the fuck out of each other. I'd be going for headshots only. Like, I'm messing up your brain. You're not making your next chess move. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm dislodging lobes. All right, your dubla oblongata no longer works. Good luck moving your rook when you can barely move your mouth. I mean, this is weird, for sure. But I wish it was like... I wish it was cooler. I wish this was like... you do a move, you hit the thing, and then you could throw a punch. And then, they do a move, and maybe you can like dodge it, that'd be cool too, or even block. But I assume with that happening, chess pieces would go flying. But maybe they could do it digitally. You're playing on an iPad, and then he's playing on an iPod the other side. You make a move, hit the thing, bow. Come on, recruit me for chess boxing. All right, underwater hockey is exactly what it sounds like, a game of hockey but underwater. It was invented in the UK in 1954. What? They've all got on snorkels, so they're not breathing underwater. They're just playing underwater, and they have to go up for air. The puck, it doesn't float. I assume it sinks to the bottom. They're all at the bottom of this pool. They don't have hockey sticks. They've got little tiny... I couldn't even describe what that thing is called. a hockey wand, I guess, that they hit the puck with, and then no pads. I wonder if there's as many fights in underwater hockey as there are in ice hockey. Okay, let's keep going. In the very disturbing game of toe wrestling, two people lock feet and battle with their toes, attempting to pin each other's foot down. This is the most jerked off to sport in history. It's toe wrestling. Look at this. They showed the crustiest ass feet. Good God almighty. Save that for the kinks episode, you know what I mean? Zorbing is the act of racing in a large transparent ball down hills, through water, or other obstacles. Zorbing. A large transparent ball down hills. This sounds dangerous as fuck. Let's watch it. Let's watch Zorbing. Videos. Extreme Zorbing. All right. I can't wait. Please play. Here we go. So they're in gigantic balls, okay, at the top of a hill. Oh God. The music, yeah. They hop in. They're released from their Zorb docks, and then they just kind of roll slowly down a hill. Is this really it? I thought it was a race. He's just kind of making his way down the hill. I thought this was going to be so much more exciting. Are you beating a time or something like that? What's happening? There's only one Zorb going down, and then you get raised back up. It seems less like a sport and more like an amusement park ride. And then the next Zorb is released, and they roll down the hill. So fun. I'm going to have to mute this video or I'm going to get claimed for this whack-ass music. Is there a person in there? And he's just rolling around with it? Okay. Hey, yo, Zorbing sucks, dude. Fuck Zorbing. I don't give a shit. All right, let's move on. Shovel racing, which involves sitting on a shovel and racing down an icy hill, made its way to the very first Winter X Games in 1997. There was a hectic crash that severely injured a competitor, which meant that shovel racing's first X Games appearance was also its last. Okay, so somebody came up with a brilliant idea to race down a shovel, and then somebody immediately got hurt, and they had to stop doing it. I wouldn't consider this necessarily a sport, but more of a failed experiment. A dumb failed experiment at that. I'm not even going to look up a video of this. Sport hawking, also known as extreme sitting, began in Germany. The sport uses a specialized stool to perform tricks, much like skateboard tricks, and land in a sitting position on the stool. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Sport hawking, aka extreme sitting. Let's watch some of this. All right, you got to check out the video version of this episode to see the sports that are taking place. I didn't want the article. I want the video. Show me that video. Oh, okay, great. All right, cool. Sport hawker. I don't think I can make this big. Oh boy. Beautifully shot film. Okay. Whoa. So this this stool is kind of slippery, kind of slidey. You can slide it along surfaces. The dudes kind of just flip it and jump off of stuff until they're sitting down. Okay. What skateboarder broke his skateboard and started doing this? You know what I mean? These are the Landers brothers. They're designers. A Hawkern is a sport in Germany. You make as many tricks as possible with the Sport Hawker. The Sport Hawker is something that these two stoners developed that you can do a lot of tricks and sit down comfortably on. Okay. So a bunch of people are just flipping these stools and having a squat. Watching them sit on it is pretty funny. It's like really satisfying to have them. I guess it is landing the trick. Is them just sitting down on this big dumb looking stool. It's easy to learn, they say. And there's kind of like some breakdancing and hacky sack type abilities needed, and then some straight up skateboard type abilities needed to successfully sport hawk. Okay. That is that's very interesting. I wouldn't say that this is necessarily cool. I don't know that I could watch this for an extended period of time. I'm already kind of tired of it at the 2-minute mark here. But it is interesting, for sure. How come I can't pause this video? Is that impossible? Sweet baby Jesus. Okay. Cool. Sport hawking. Or extreme sitting. Let's move on. Oh, here's one I can do. Wife carrying originated in Finland and made its way to North America in 1999. The sport involves a man carrying a woman, who are not required to be legally married, okay, on his back, running through obstacles along the way. If the man drops his partner, their team must add 5 seconds to their time. The team who finishes the course with the fastest time wins. Now, this begs the question, is there husband carrying? You know, on an alternate side. Almost more physically demanding challenge. Husband carrying. Some of these dudes be beefy. You know what I'm saying? Probably not. I mean, I guess I'll look it up just to clear my conscience, you know. Husband carrying race. Husband boyfriend carrying race. Watch husband carry their wives upside down. Husbands dropping their wives. Okay, here's a lady running. Wife carrying. BBC pair swap roles for wife carrying race. All right, 2013. Look at that. They're usually found on the BBC breakfast sofa, keeping us up to date with the latest sport and business news. But Mike Bushell and Steph McGovern have now entered sporting history, all in the name of comic relief. Can you believe a woman is carrying a man in this sport traditionally where women or men carry women? Hot diggity dog. All right, I guess this video is playing from the BBC. It's a bunch of dudes with a bunch of ladies on their backs. The ladies are upside down, which I guess is for maneuverability, but it sounds pretty like a terrible experience for the women, right? They have to just be hooked onto this dude who is going to trip and fall a bunch with them on their backs. I wouldn't want to be one of these wives. And so in this race, at some point, goodness gracious, yeah, the wife is carrying the husband, and he's right side up. He's like, I refuse to be upside down. That's bullshit. I'm going to be right side up. They spray water in the girls' faces. This dude has his wife on the front. Jesus. Her head is just bobbing against his junk. This is so weird. Who thought of this, and who convinced everybody else to compete in it? All right, let's keep going here for a little bit longer. Elephant polo is just like regular polo, except on an elephant. It even requires the same equipment. This sport is popular in Nepal, India, and Thailand. This polo is normally played on horses, right? I guess they just got more elephants. Elephants are cooler. I'd be like, elephant, hey, use that chunk. Just knock that over into the thing. Cycle ball is a competition between two teams of two played on bicycles with no brakes. Their goal is to get the ball into the goal using only their wheels and their heads. Their heads. So they're like popping the ball up and hitting it with their head like soccer players. Players are allowed to use their hands on defense, but not on offense. That's so weird. Cycle ball. Okay, I'm fearing like copyright strike or whatever, so I'm not gonna play this video. Sepak takraw, which originated in Asia, is like volleyball, except the players must use their feet to get the ball over the net. Players are allowed to use any part of their body to keep the ball in the air, except for their arms or hands. This is awesome. It's volleyball with your legs. It's soccer volleyball. That's pretty cool. I kind of want to see someone with like no arms playing this sport. That would be sick. I actually wonder if that would be an advantage over some other people who are more tempted to use their arms for balance and stuff like that. I don't know. During cheese rolling, a large cheese wheel is rolled down a steep hill and competitors race after it. The first person to make it down the hill wins the cheese. I'm going to keep that yawning. Dog surfing. It involves canines hanging 10 with their owners. More intense dog surfing involves the dogs doing tricks while their owner stands on the board as pictured below. Oh, okay. Wow, this is dope. Dog surfing. All right, let's try and watch a video of this. I mean, my dog he's right over here off camera. No, I don't want surfing dogs. That's cool on its own. But I'm talking about dog surfing with bros. You know what I mean? There's a bro on the board, there's a dog on the board, and we're all surfing, bro. No, these are all just cute surfing dogs. All right, I'm getting out of this. I'm kind of rushing through this episode. I apologize. I just have to take my dog to the vet shortly here. So let's get to the end of it. Here we go. Here's one right up Andre's alley. It's Quidditch. Quidditch started out as a fictional game for wizards in the popular Harry Potter series. Fans loved the idea of Quidditch so much that it soon became a real sport played internationally. A team is made up of 7 athletes who must play with a broom between their legs at all times. It borrows elements from rugby, dodgeball, and tag. You got to get the ball through the hoops. That's the quaffle, right? And then, is there a snitch in Muggle Quidditch? Probably not. That seems difficult to do. Are there beaters? 2 guys with bats who hit a separate ball from the quaffle to try to knock other players off their game. I don't know if that makes any sense either. Hard to do that with a broom between your legs and a bat and a ball that you have to use your other hand with, right? Because it can't magically fly. Okay. I don't think I've ever actually seen a Quidditch match, like a professional Quidditch match or whatever. These are college Quidditch teams. I think I did play it once in like a neighborhood with some people when I was much younger, and it was weird. You know, the broom seems unnecessary if it's not flying, I think. You know, but then I guess if it doesn't have a broom, isn't it just rugby and not Quidditch anymore? I don't know. I guess not. All right, that's the end of this article, and I think it's going to be the end of this episode. You know, I feel like I didn't learn that much today. I absolutely did. There's a whole bunch of things, but I feel like I wasted a lot of time up top of cricket, and I didn't get to a lot of things that I had pulled up here. Some other weird sports. Okay, wife carrying and chess boxing is also in this article. Cheese rolling. Extreme ironing. Oh, look at that. Egg throwing. Underwater hockey. I learned about that. Shin kicking. Okay, let's read this one real quick. Shin kicking takes manliness to a whole new level. Originating in England in the early 17th century, the combat sport involves 2 contestants attempting to kick each other on the shin until one hits the ground. The Shin Kicking World Championship is part of the Cotswold Olympic Games, an annual event held on Dover's Hill, north of the English town Chipping-Campden. Shin kicking. It's purely English. Fuck your shins. And the ankles they rode in on. That'd be a horrible game. I remember getting my shins kicked a lot in elementary school. Girls who liked me would often come up and kick me in the shins, thinking that would get my attention. It did, and I hate those girls now. All right, there's the gross ass toe wrestling, and then sepak takraw that's the foot volleyball, musical canine freestyle, dog dancing. And these dudes are dressed up. This is what we'll close out the episode on. It's the Dog Dancing World Championship. I'm going to go ahead and mute it. So these dogs are sitting and praying in opposition, doing dances. Now, are treats involved in this competition at all? Doesn't look like it. The dog is just walking in circles around this lady. Oh, okay, now they're dancing. They're dancing together. The dog is doing backward circles around the girl while she does forward circles. This is really weird. How do you train your dog to do this? And she doesn't have treats. I legit thought that she was going to be handing out treats throughout this event, but it looks like the treats will be handed out at the end of the dance rather than during it. This is very odd. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Andre Knows Everything podcast. I've been Andre Morton. Thank you so much. You can subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, regular RSS feed, Anchor. I'm all over the place. You can leave me a voice message on Anchor. Go to anchor.fm/Andre Knows Everything. I think that's what it is. So search for me there. You can send a voice message to the show. I can play it on the show and answer your questions if you so choose. You can also subscribe on YouTube, get the video version to see the dog dancing that's currently happening on the screen. It's still weird. There's some other sports that I viewed during this episode. Come on over to the YouTube version of the show to check those out. Leave a comment if you're on YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit that like button, smash that notification bell, and it'll let you know when the episodes are coming to you. They normally come on Sundays at noon. I think that's going to be it for this episode. Follow my other podcast, The Walt Vault. We talk about Disney movies. And follow me on social media. I am at Andre Morton Jr. That's it for this episode. Next week, I'll be doing something possibly less weird. And that's it. I now know more today than I did yesterday. Bye.